The day began bright and busy on Ketha Prime. Vendors shouted in the market squares. Cargo drones buzzed above the river. Children chased one another through the shade of the sky bridges. Then noon came, and noon turned to night. Shadows fell. Without warning, it was not a cloud, not an eclipse they had planned for. The light simply dimmed, as if the star itself breathed out and forgot to shine. People stopped moving. Heads tilted up. The sky looked wrong, too smooth, too flat, too close. High above the city spires. Captain Varak's patrol corvette rolled hard to starboard, its sensor mast unfurling like a silver fin. Varak was a careful officer, thin hands, old eyes, always polite with his crew. He had seen battle once, and he preferred not to see it again. But his threat board was screaming. "Range?" he asked. "Unknown," said the sensor tech, voice tight. "Sir, it keeps growing." It was not growing, it was arriving. A shape crossed the upper atmosphere, black and silent, moving with the calm of a drifting mountain. The corvette's cameras caught the edge first, a rim with lights like a horizon. Then came the hull plating, each panel big enough to land a city shuttle. The ship slid overhead, slow and unstoppable, and the day dimmed further. The bridge went quiet. "It's a ship," Varak said at last, almost to himself. He had read reports. He had watched grainy footage. But reports did not show weight. Footage did not give shade. "Human," he added, because the signature was impossible to. Confused, the text swallowed. "Reading mass. Mass is off the chart. If the scale is right, sir, that thing is a city with engines." Kethor Prime's feeds lit up with 1,000 viewpoints, from balcony rails to hilltop farms, from orbital ferries to deep mines. Millions of eyes watched the same impossible silhouette slide across the sun. Kids pointed. Merchants went still with coins in their hands. A grandmother touched her brow with 2 fingers and whispered an old prayer for safe crossings. Varak keyed the open channel. "Unidentified human vessel," he said, voice steady. "This is Captain Varak of the Catherian Coalition Patrol. State your intent." The reply came smooth and warm, like a friend meeting you at a station gate. "Captain Varak, this is Admiral Imani Cole of the United Human Fleet. We request dialogue and a safe approach corridor. We mean no harm." "No harm." Varak stared at the hull that was still moving overhead, still blocking the sun. No harm. And yet the planet wore the ship's shadow like a cloak. Then the stars blinked. A second supercarrier fell out of FTL. Then a third. Then a fourth, each one arriving with the soft ripple of space rennet. They did not roar. They did not show off. They came like patient titans, sliding into a wide arc, their bellies bright with position lights, their flanks marked by simple numbers and the blue emblem of Earth. On the ground, the markets filled with hushed voices. "Are they invading?" someone asked. "No," said another. "They're too quiet." A child laughed because the darkness made the street lamps flicker on at noon. "Admiral Cole," Varak said carefully, "your ships are large. We build for the worst case." Cole answered. There was no pride in her tone, only fact. "And for many lives at once." In the Coalition war room, the feeds streamed across a dozen walls. Councillors argued in circles. A general with polished pins tapped a pen against his teeth. "They are inside our sky," he said. "That is a message. It is a bad message to answer with anger," the science minister replied. "Look at their power curve. Look at their thermal profile. Those fields are not pointed at us." "Then at what?" the general said. Back on the corvette, Varak's sensor tech raised a hand. "Captain, I have an anomaly. Source, the star. Energy surge in the chromosphere. It's building. How big? Varrock asked. The tech grimaced. Big. Varrock opened the channel again. Admiral Cole, why are your ships forming that shape? The human supercarriers were moving now with clear intent. They were climbing to a higher shell, arranging themselves along a circle. Each ship rotated bow to stern alignment until their hulls faced the sun in a shared geometry. To hold the sky, Cole said. Varrock blinked. I do not understand. A low hum threaded through the corvette's hull as the supercarrier's fields woke. It was not sound, not truly. It was a pressure behind the ears, a weight on the teeth. The ships extended structures from their dorsal spines, vast arcs that unfurled like silver fans. The fans locked, segment to segment, until each supercarrier wore a curved, radiant canopy. On the ground, children cheered because it looked like a show. In orbit, pilots whispered because it looked like a shield. Admiral, Varrock said, the coalition has not approved any. We did not come to command you, Cole said gently. We detected a stellar event inbound to your system. We are here to mitigate. Request, keep your weapons cold. Keep your skies clear. Bring your surface power grids to low draw. If you have old shelters, open them. Stellar event, Varrock asked. The War Room's science minister answered for him, patches of color washing over her face from the feeds. Captain, I am seeing it too. A CME complex, not a single wave, a stacked train, magnetic and particle. If it hits us naked, she did not finish. She did not need to. In the sky, the first supercarrier's canopy flared, and a shallow dome of light grew outward from its spine. It was not a wall. It was a net, threads too fine for the eye, but the air itself seemed to glow where it passed. The second carrier lit, then the third. The domes touched and overlapped until a ring formed around Ketha Prime, thin and shining. Varrock's crew watched, quiet as dust. How many lives fit inside one of those? The navigator whispered. More than on our whole moon, said the tech. Varrock looked at his own ship. Small, quick, very clean. He had been proud of it that morning. He still was. But pride sat beside a new feeling. Now no shame, not fear, something he did not have a word for. It was the feeling of standing at a river and realizing the river could pick up a city and carry it away, and also turn around and set it gently back. The war room split again. They are staging a demonstration, the general snapped. They want us to see how large they are. Maybe they want us to live through the day, the science minister said, eyes locked on the solar graphs. Admiral Cole, Varrock said, what do you require of us? Honest sensors, Cole replied. Public channels, calm voices. We will carry the first surge. If our fields buckle, we will bleed the excess into our holes. We have room. Varrock imagined room inside those holes, parks, farms, hospitals, schools. He did not know if any of that was true, but the idea felt right. A moving city, he thought again. A city that could hold the sky. The first wave touched the outer net. Every screen went white. The corvette's lights flickered. The engines coughed. On the ground, street lamps buzzed and then steadied. The ring of domes shone brighter, a soft halo against the dark noon. Reading absorption, the tech said, voice shaky. They're taking it. The white faded, the star glared beyond the carrier's rims. The halo dimmed to a patient glimmer. Realized he had been holding his breath. He let it go. The crew exhaled with him. Is that it? The navigator asked. No, the science minister said over the shared link, voice low. That was the preface. Varric turned back to the window. The supercarriers were still in their places, steady and quiet, their canopies locked toward the sun. They did not speak. They did not posture. They simply waited, engines humming like a long, deep chord. On the surface, a child tugged her grandmother's sleeve. Will the dark stay? She asked. For a little while, the old woman said softly, watching the halos. But it will leave when those giants decide. In orbit, Varric looked at the shadow laying across the world and felt the same thought. Rise in him with a mix of fear and respect. We feared their size. We should measure their purpose. The sensor alarms climbed again, louder this time, deeper. The second surge had left the star. It was coming fast, above Ketha Prime, the human. Giants opened their umbrellas wider and turned their faces to the sun. The second surge was coming, and still the human voice stayed calm. Captain Varric, Admiral Cole said over the open channel, we invite a liaison aboard. You may bring to docking slot A12 will guide you. Varric hesitated for only one breath. He chose his sensor tech, Rin, and his navigator, Shay. Their small shuttle lifted from the corvette and slid toward the nearest super. The closer they came, the more the hull turned into a landscape. Ridges like streets, ports like lakes, lights in tidy rows like windows in a quiet city at night. Follow the path, a human controller said. A soft line lit up ahead of them, floating in the air like a ribbon. The shuttle drifted along it and entered a harbor canuna, long, open bay the size of a mountain valley. Dozens of craft rested on wide decks. Cranes moved with silent grace. People walked in pairs and groups. Some wore uniforms. Some wore plain clothes. The shuttle touched down. The ramp lowered. Air smelled clean, like rain after heat. A human officer stood waiting. She was tall, with dark eyes and the kind of still face that made people relax. Welcome aboard, UHS Mercygate, she said. I am Commander Patel. Admiral Cole is on the bridge. Please, come. They walked through halls wide. Enough for trucks. The floor hummed under their boots, deep and steady. They passed glass walls with scenes Varric did not expect. A clinic with quiet beds, a schoolroom with a teacher drawing the sun on a board, a garden under white lamps where short trees grew in long lines. People glanced up when the aliens passed, then went back to work. Rin stared at the garden. They grow food inside a warship, she whispered. Shay pointed to a sign with simple icons. Shelter, water, med, families. They hide families inside a warship. They protect families inside a warship, Varric said. He was not sure why he corrected her, only that the words felt true here. Elevators carried them up. Transparent panels showed the curve of the docking bay behind. Distant, the sun's light traced the edge of the carrier's great canopy. The sight made Varric's chest ache, and he did not know if it was fear or hope. The bridge doors opened with a soft chime. The bridge looked more like a civic hall than a battle room. Open space, long consoles, quiet talk. In the center stood Admiral Imani Cole. She turned, and her smile reached her eyes. Captain Varric, she said, thank you for trusting us. Varric stood tall. Trust is easier when the other side holds the sun for you, he said, and then felt heat rise to his cheeks for the clumsy joke. Cole only nodded, as if he had said something wise. The surge will be layered, Cole said, gesturing to a wall display. The star's image pulsed. Wave 1 had passed. Wave 2 grew like a rolling mountain. We call this pattern the dark wake. If it hits full on, it burns grids, cooks unshielded lungs, scrambles guidance. Our net will take most, but we ask your cities to power down and your people to stay low. The science minister's face joined on a side panel from the coalition war room. We have done as you asked, she said. We thank you. We came because we were close and built for it, Cole said. We carry heavy fields. We can redistribute charge through our hulls, down into heat sinks, and out through radiators. We also carry hospitals, shelters, and food. If the surface is hurt, bring people aboard. Varak looked around. You prepared for this many times. Cole tapped a control. A list appeared. Dates, worlds, storms. Logs opened with lines of text and small video ships shading dusty colonies, medbays. Full of tired faces, small hands holding cups of water. The files were not locked. They were open for anyone to read. Rin swallowed hard. Shay looked down at her own hands. An alarm ticked. A new symbol blinked on the edge of the bridge map. Cole's soft voice stayed level. Incoming coalition fleet, she said. Transponders mark task group Steel 9. Varak felt his stomach. Not hardliners, he said quietly. They do not accept your presence. The views filled with new ships, clean triangles of light. A harsh voice cut into the shared channel. Human fleet, the hardliner commander said, you are violating coalition airspace. Reduce fields at once and prepare to be escorted. Cole's answer did not change in tone. Task Group Steel 9, a stellar event, is inbound. We are holding fields for civilian protection. Your approach vectors cut across our canopy line. We ask you to hold position outside the ring. You will lower your fields, the voice said. This is our sky. The science minister spoke fast. Steel 9, stop. Look at the data. Your data comes from them, the commander snapped. I see a smokescreen and a show of force. Varak opened his mouth to speak, but the bridge AI spoke first. Admiral, surface grid stability is good. Civil shelters report at 78% capacity. Surge arrival in 7 minutes. Copy, Cole said. She turned to Varak. Captain, can you help us keep your channels calm? Fear will make people run outside. I will try, Varak said. He sent a short message to ground control. Voice steady, words simple. Stay low, stay calm. The ring will hold. Another alarm flared. Steel 9's ships lit their weapon rails. Maybe a test, maybe a threat. The bridge lights dipped, then steadied. Rin sucked in a breath. Captain, she whispered, their alignment is bad. The second wave will skew their sensors. On the carrier's map, Steel 9 adjusted its line, then adjusted again. Engines twitching as their systems fought the stars' growing storm. Varak could see it now, even with the eye, a faint flicker at the sun's edge, like heat above a road. Task Group Steel 9, Cole said. We will allocate you a safe station outside the halo. We will share it now. You do not allocate anything to us, the hardliner commander said. His voice shook now. Whether with anger or static, Varak could not tell. Cole looked at a young officer. Open record channel, she said. Open. The officer replied. Cole's voice carried to the whole system, plain and clear. Citizens of Ketha Prime, we are holding a shield net to protect your world from a solar storm. Please reduce power draw. Please remain indoors or in shelters. Coalition ships, please hold outside the net for safety. We will maintain public logs in real time. On a side wall, numbers rolled. Field load, heat build up, hull stress. Nothing was hidden. Varric felt the knot in his chest loosen a little. At that dot then, the sun lit the world, waved to hit the halo. White light washed the bridge. The floor shook, a slow, heavy tremor, like a giant putting down a foot. Consoles flashed. People held their positions. The ring glowed bright as day. Load at 60. Someone called, "Redistribute to Mercy Gate and Anchor Dawn." Another answered, "Radiators hot and full Sector C." A third said, "VAR-AQ," stared. The carrier grew thin spines along its flanks. Panels slid open like petals and shone with soft heat. The giant was sweating. "Shields are holding," Rin said, eyes wet. "They're actually holding." A sharp tone cut through the noise different from the others. The hardliner fleet had drifted closer without meaning to. A single destroyer twitched, its targeting rails flickering under magnetic stress. A bolt of energy spat from its bow, wild and bright, the way a hand might jerk when shocked. The bolt snapped across the field of battle like a thrown spear. "Trajectory?" Cole asked. A human officer's voice cracked for the first time. "Surface. Strike. City vector. Kethor. Prime." Shay put a hand over her mouth. Varric felt the world tilt. "Interception window?" Cole asked. 3 seconds. "All carriers," Cole said, voice level. "Catch that." On the map, the bolt streaked toward the planet. The giants turned just a little, and the net moved. With them, like a living thing, the surge thundered on. The bolt fell. The world held its breath. The bolt hit the net. It did not explode. It slid. The supercarriers turned a few degrees, and the halo bent with them. Fields thickened in one place and thinned in another, shaping a safe slide. The bolt followed the slide like water in a gutter. It curved away from the city vector, skimmed the upper air, and hit a dark patch far above the ocean. There, a human ship had opened a sinker-heavy tank and a hungry coil. The bolt fell into it like a stone into a lake. The tank flared white. Inside, then red, then dull. The ocean below did not even ripple. On the bridge of Mercy Gate, no one cheered. Hands stayed on controls. Voices stayed level. "Interception complete," a helm officer said. "No surface impact. No debris." Varric only realized he had been gripping the rail when his fingers hurt. Rin wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Shay let out a sound that was not a laugh but wanted to be one. Admiral Cole did not look away from the star. "All ships," she said, "hold geometry. Wave 3 in 2 minutes." The hardliner commander cut in again, voice harsh and thin. "You interfered with a coalition weapon discharge. You discharged into a civilian sky," Cole said, still calm. "We will discuss it after the storm." Another carrier spoke, on a side channel, lower and more private. "Admiral Steel Nine's guidance is drifting under magnetic strain." "Tag their rails," Cole said. "Soft kill only. I don't want damage. I want quiet. Copy." A map piped to the main display for Varric to see. Thin human drones, small as birds beside the giants, fanned out along the edge of the halo. They lit a grid the hardliners could read, a safe holding box in clean lines. At the same time, a soft pulse touched the hardliner weapons, not a strike, more like a hand on a shaking arm. Rails cooled. Targeting cursors stopped wandering. Warning lights on Steel 9 turned from angry red to steady amber. Varric spoke into the open channel. "Task Group, Steel 9, remain in the box. The next wave will hit us all. We need clear sky." The Hardliner Commander did not answer, but his ships drifted into the box. Sometimes obedience is not a word. It is a line your ship does not cross. Alarms climbed again. Wave 3 came like a wall. The halo brightened until the air itself seemed to ring. The floor under Varroc's boots thrummed. Panels along the carrier's flanks opened wider. Long radiators unfurled like leaves and glowed with heat. Numbers rolled on the public feed. Field load, hull flex, heat flow. None of it hid. Load at 82, someone called. Shift 5% to anchor dawn, Cole answered. Mercygate will take the next spike. Copy, Mercygate taking. Rin stared at the figures. They will cook their own ship, she whispered. Shay shook her head. They will sweat it off. The wall hit. Lights flickered across the bridge. One console popped and then came back. The star threw out ropes of fire. The halo caught them and pulled them taut until they frayed into harmless glow. In the lower sky, storm sprites danced, thin and green. On the surface, old shelters hummed but did not fail. In the markets, people sat on floors and told quiet stories to keep the small ones calm. On Mercygate, a tone changed from steady to sharp. A crew chief's voice cut in. Sector C radiator is close to limit. Dump heat to C-Sync, Cole said. C-Sync at 93. Take it to 98. Copy. Varroc watched a bar creep toward the top of a scale. His mouth went dry. The bar stopped, shook, and held. Umbrella integrity. Cole asked. Stable, public grid, holding, medical. Minor cases only. No burns, no lung hits. Another ripple, smaller. The light softened. Numbers fell. The wall had become a long, slow rain. The science minister's voice came from the war room. Thinner now, with relief and exhaustion. Wave 3 decreasing. We are past peak. On the surface, a child near the shelter door whispered, "Is it over?" The grandmother listened to the hum above and finally said, "Almost." Cole let out a slow breath. All ships, maintain shade for 20 minutes. Begin staged cooldowns. Open relief bays 1 and 2. The bridge eased. Muscle lines softened. Someone behind Varroc laughed once, quietly, like a held, not untying. Cole turned to Varroc. "Captain, I would like to address your people with you." Varroc nodded. His voice had steadied itself by now. They stood side by side, human and alien, on a shared feed that reached every shelter and street dot. Varaq spoke first. He kept it simple, because simple words carry when nerves are thin. "Citizens of Kether Prime, the worst has passed. Stay indoors for a short time more. The halo will stay up while the sky settles. Relief bays are open. If you need help, say it. If you can help, be ready." Admiral Cole spoke next. "People of Kether Prime, we came because we were near and because our ships are built to hold. We will share all logs and all numbers. If your leaders wish, we will run joint drills so you can do what we did today. We ask nothing in trade now. We ask only that you rest and drink water." The feed rolled on with calm voices. Names of shelters. Streets where water carts would stop. Times for power to rise again. Nothing loud, nothing proud. Then Cole turned to a different channel. "Task Group, Steel 9, she said gently. "You drifted close under a bad sky. That happens. Your destroyers. Bolt fell. We caught it. After cooldown, we can help you check your rails and shields. Your crews look tired. We have med tea that helps with storm headaches. There was a long pause. When the hardliner commander spoke, the edge was gone. Understood, he said. We accept your assistance. Rin blinked at Varak. Did she just save his face and his ships in one sentence? Varak allowed himself a small smile. She saved his people. The face will follow. Across the ring, the giants began to turn. Not away, not yet. They adjusted so their canopies caught the last weak spray from the star. The light on the planet deepened from harsh white to soft grey. The sky looked like late afternoon. Shay watched the radiators fold, one by one, with the careful grace of a dancer putting away fans. They planned for the worst, she said, repeating Cole's earlier words. And they bring room for many. Room for many, Varak said softly. In the war room, the council finally spoke with one voice. The science minister gave the words. Admiral Cole, she said, on behalf of the Catherian coalition, thank you. We propose a mutual aid protocol, open data on stellar hazards, shared drills twice a year, and a clear traffic rule for halos. Cole nodded, accepted. We will send a draft today. It will be plain. On the ground, relief bays opened like bright mouths along the carrier's lower decks. Ramps touched dock towers. Med teams in simple uniforms waved people in. Water mist through wide halls to cool the air. A child walked up a ramp holding a cracked toy ship. A human sailor knelt, fixed the crack with a strip of clear tape, and sent the child back down, grinning. Steel 9 ships edged close to the safe box line. Human drones met them with gentle lights and guided them to a service radius. No weapons, pointed. No pride was stepped on. Tools moved. Panels opened. Work began. Varak stood a little apart on the bridge and let his eyes take in the scale again. The hull beyond the glass was still a landscape. The carrier still wore a city inside. The stars still glared beyond the halo, but not so angry now. He spoke without meaning to. We feared your size. Admiral Cole looked at him. We should have measured your purpose. Varak said. Cole did not answer with words. She only looked. Back out at the halo, at the world under it, and at the people moving along the ramps. 20 minutes later, the giants dimmed their canopies. The halo thinned and then let the sun through. Light spilled over Ketha Prime, warm and honest. Street lamps clicked off. Markets stirred. Doors opened. The sky was blue again, not black. The supercarriers did not parade. They did not roar. They turned with slow care and lifted to a higher shell to cool in the thin air. Their radiators glowed faint and then not at all. Their logs stayed open on public channels, line after line of numbers that said, in their quiet way, this is what we took so you did not have to. As Mercy Gate rose, Varric, Rin, and Shay stood by the window a last time. A group of human children on a viewing deck across the hall pressed their hands to the glass and waved. Shay waved back. Rin did too. Varric found his hand lifting on its own. Come visit again, Commander Patel said, smiling. Next time, without a storm. Next time, Varric said, we bring tea. He paused, and our own drills. They walked back to their shuttle. The floor still hummed the same deep note, steady as a heart. Outside, the shadow on the world was moving away. Ketha Prime was small again under a clean sun. But the people who lived there felt larger. They had seen giants. They had learned what giants could choose to do.